Welcome back to MK vs. DC. So, Chapter 7, Lex Luthor.
Goody, Lex Luthor.
Batman is so infuriating.
Tell me about it.
The Red Capes are coming too.
I'm nobody's bodyguard. Certainly not yours.
Of course not. You know the enemy's base and how to override their defenses. Once I've taken what I need, I'll rally the so-called heroes to handle Darkon for me, and you can...
Lex, we've got company.
More
Ninjas!
Their souls are forfeit.
But they're not teenagers. Or mutants. Or turtles.
Our souls are forfeit? Is that
Don't you mean heroes?
Because it's not very funny.
We don't
Wait, are they still called that in the UK?
No.
Okay.
Mono.
Yeah, surprise Sub-Zero and Scorpion don't try to re-team up.
Yeah,
so they
have
have a code of honor.
Yeah, Mr. Announcer, Sub-Zero already said fight.
No, but that's the thing, but Sub-Zero is not the announcer, so it doesn't count. It only counts when the announcer says it.
The announcer is, what's the term, not diegetic, but something similar in a sense that the player hears that.
We can hear it, but the characters,
yeah.
They're not dead.
Sub-Zero can't, overrun his rules. He's the fighter and he's not the announcer. Therefore, whatever he tries to say doesn't really matter. The announcer is the one who's actually in charge of this. So.
I will admit, one thing I do miss about the 3D gameplay of Mortal Kombat was how you could use the 3D landscape in some ways to try and dodge stuff by moving to the side.
No, you can still do this in this one. This is the last 3D one.
Well, I know, Pedro. That's why I said one thing I miss about 3D gameplay.
Yeah, it's a common
because
thing
I noticed you do that on screen earlier.
With 9, with the Reboot trilogy, they wanted to really go full old school and just let's bring back the 2D fighting plane.
It's a common thing with 3D fighting games. Both Tekken and Soul Calibur also have currently also this kind of thing where you can sidestep to dodge an upcoming attack and attack from the side or the back. Depending on the game, there are also cases where you can gain a slight advantage by attacking on either the side or the back. Either the adversary cannot block in time, or you can actually inflict potentially more damage. But it's not a consistent thing. The real gist is that, again, sidestepping used mostly for dodging.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor wins.
There we go.
Next.
Lex Luthor wins. What a shock.
One down.
Lex, behind
Why did it say Lex wins?
Teleport behind you.
Nothing personal, kid. Oh, good. Because this is business to me.
You'll have to do better than that.
That's a terrible line, Lex. Think of something better.
Seriously, Deji's exchange was better.
Did he just thought of it on the
Like something like I have more challenging business meeting or meetings or something.
No, more like, come now. This is as pointless as stealing 40 cakes, and that's just awful.
That's terrible.
To make it too obvious.
At this point, the Super Dictionary was not as mimetic as it is now, so...
That's the thing, Tio. They made it canon, and I love them for it.
Yeah, I know that. I think it was like the New 52 that they integrated that into Lex's backstory.
I think
What, the
they
40
did that
cakes thing?
Yeah, I think it's super mean. So a character is reading Lex's bio and says that when he was in high school, just for funsies, he stole from a bakery sale 40 cakes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
That is pretty cute.
Yeah, so I recently found out, since you mentioned the New 52, those DC movies that were all interconnected.
Yes, they were based off of the
what? I thought they were still making them.
No, that's like I mentioned this in the. Hold on, I'll mention this for the next match.
Hey, Lex, you gotta help her out. Don't give the woman cold feet.
With what I understand, he's really still a gentleman.
Thanks. For a moment there, I wasn't
Except for his wife's.
Story of my life. Let's go.
Uh-huh.
Johnny Cage would have kicked his butt.
Here it is.
That's because Lex Luthor would underestimate Johnny Cage.
No, here's what Johnny would be like. Huh, I fought a guy like you in a movie I starred in.
Why you do that? I'm going to.
And then he'll try to hit on Catwoman.
If we do get an Injustice 3, I totally want Lex Luthor Supermarket from Death of Superman as an arena.
This is Luthor. I'm transferring the portal technology to the Lexcorp servers. With this, I'll rebuild Lexcorp. Nothing will stop me.
Except
Sure.
me.
Oh,
Jax.
I thought I'd lock you
Sorry, smart
Except
Alex.
Going
There's only
somewhere,
Won't happen again.
going somewhere,
Been
Lex.
admiring your portal technology. It's going to prove quite useful to me,
Over my dead body.
Well, that can be arranged.
if you insist.
yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
The Battle of the Baldies. Let's go.
Anyway, Dej, I was mentioning this I did mention this in our Batman the Long Halloween commentary. Essentially, what DC did is that, starting with the Flashpoint Paradox, started a new continuity of animated movies that continue until the Invasion of Apocalypse a few years ago,
Justice League.
which had a
Dark
very bleak ending where nearly everyone died, and it just ends on this vague note that Flash is gonna reboot the timeline again. But the new continuity has been formed from that, which is called the Tomorrowverse, as it's called, that started with Superman Man of Tomorrow, is ignoring that so far. And the story...
Because,
and after Injustice, the upcoming movies are all about original materials instead of being adapted from other stories.
Okay, so here's the thing, Dej. Here's the thing about what DC Comics was doing at the time.
No,
As you know,
I watched
hold
the
on.
video covering it, so I know what's going on.
No.
It's just like, I didn't know that it recently ended. I was like, oh, that's weird.
There was a
reason-
lot of past,
The reason for that was because, well, the New 52 in comics is pretty much
Rebirth,
Cybernetic
yeah.
arms and tree-
yeah, so not really much to follow off of.
Yeah, the New 52 felt like a mistake.
Lex,
in not a long run.
Lex, oh, hi, Barry.
Catwoman.
Isn't it obvious? She's a criminal just like you.
You're out of the loop, Red. We're all on the same side.
Shut up, Luthor. I'm taking you down.
You know, to be fair, if this were going off of the Justice League DCAU universe, yeah, Flash would have every right to hate Luthor.
Yeah, you know that scene where Luthor takes over Flash's
Yeah,
body?
except on
yes.
He's like, I don't know who this guy is.
Okay, you know, it works as a double pun because Michael Rosenberg plays Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Yes.
Yep.
That was great. But yeah, no. The New 52 did have potential, but man, it was not handled the
Whatever
best.
potential that Jova was squandered, and the only time it was at least applicable was with the run that Scott Snyder had with Batman and the Court of Owls storyline.
Now, what?
Was
Okay,
Scott Snyder the one who made the Bat Who Laughs?
No, I think it
Was
was.
he?
I think he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it certainly wasn't Tom King.
I wouldn't say that there were no good issues. Like, to be fair, there were some good series here in the New 52. It's just
Aquaman was good.
yes.
All right,
Started
Barry,
off
you
good.
got it out of your system again.
I'm still not keen on the idea that they made Cyborg part of the Justice League, even though he feels more
Yeah.
like the Titans.
They were pretty much putting just Cyborg on all the teams at the time.
He's on Doom Patrol, TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back off. Joker and Flash are infected. We can't trust them.
We've all been infected, Batman. It's a risk we have to take.
Not to worry, Batman. My fight with Luthor apparently purged me of my
How
combat
convenient.
rage, whatever you call it.
Gentlemen, if you're finished wasting time, we have a job to do.
Thank you,
Open the
Diana.
portal, Luthor. Take us to Apocalypse.
Yay! We're all going to hell.
And if you're not available, we'll leave you there.
I wonder if Lex just secretly changed the coordinates so they'll end up in, like, I don't know, outer space.
The
or
negative
something.
zone. Not the
Even
Phantom
that-
Zone, sorry.
Either
The
that or,
negative zone
the,
is on the Marvel side.
or just send them all to outer space and.
Well, yeah, that's what has remained of Apocalypse, apparently.
Yep.
They can also. Well, actually, no. Superman won't suffocate in the vacuum. Will
Something
he?
is definitely wrong here.
I like it.
You would. This is what's in store for Earth if we don't stop DarkCon. Grinding two universes together will eventually rip them both apart.
Yeah, I don't know. It worked out for Marvel and Capcom and Infinite.
Also, the DC Universe gets its timeline ripped, the continuity ripped,
Yeah, so
merged.
this is an everyday occurrence for these guys.
Sometimes literally with two hands squashing Earths together.
Have you guys ever read Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I did.
Yes. Oh God, love
Pretty
that.
How was it?
Awesome.
It is wonderful. It's one of the. It is pretty much considered the comic event.
Oh, I thought you were about the TV show.
No.
No.
We have come to challenge
The TV show has issues.
But you know what the best part about that was? I don't think I've heard it. It's like the Batman date is over.
Yes.
Because holy crap, you don't understand how bad things were when the DCEU was first starting.
No,
Because like
I
they killed
have a
off
good
Amanda
idea.
Waller, got rid of Deathstroke.
There's DarkCon. That's a close-up of Billy's face. Also, Crouch first.
They couldn't mention the Suicide Squad because they wanted to make movies. Like they were like, so like the show, the Arrowverse was suffering because of that. But it's like, okay, no, all right, you can do whatever you want.
Like seriously, for as much as we do make jokes at this expense, we do seriously have one Jeff Johns to thank for things at least starting to get better on not just the comics, not just the movies, but apparently also the TV series getting its head back in the game.
You know, Pedro, I was really expecting the Mortal Kombat theme song to be playing.
Again,
I don't know
unfortunately, Ed Boon and his team, even probably for a rights issue or something, could not manage to reuse it properly until the marketing of MK11. And even then, it's not even in the actual game.
you, alien. This is all your
Alright, there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I just like the Joker and Batman, we cannot really have a game without Superman fighting Lex.
not this time.
Again, I will give these games credit. They do recognize that, you know, Superman is still the face of DC, so of course he's the one we end off on.
I thought at this point the face of DC is a toss-up between him and Batman.
Well, okay. Technically, when it comes to the face of DC, then, okay, if not Superman, it is the trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hey, Dej, want to hear something stupid?
Go on.
In Heroes in Crisis, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman got outsmarted, outran, and outsped by Harley Quinn of all people.
No, okay, no more. Stop talking.
Like,
It's a very bad story.
it really is. Like,
DC really wants Harley Quinn to be the next big thing.
Okay, look.
She kind of is, but it's like she wants her to be on par with the Trinity.
Okay, look. I don't care how popular you are. You do not escape Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman with the ease she did in Heroes in Crisis. And to be fair, Heroes in Crisis is not what I call the typical DC comic. No, Heroes in Crisis is just a very, very terrible story. Like,
I mean,
it's
I
up
like-
there
I
with
like
One
the
More
idea-
Day levels of bad.
I like the idea of raising the question of, do heroes like Superman, Wonder Woman, still need a form of psychological therapy due to all the shit they go through, among the years? But the story handles it in the poorest way imaginable.
It's one of the biggest examples of excellent ideas, incredibly terrible execution. I think the only good thing to come out of it was that Harley Quinn then hooked up with Booster Gold, and even still.
Hooray.
What?
Yeah, Harley Quinn and Booster Gold are currently an item in the comics.
I thought she married Poison Ivy.
No. She had a falling out with Poison
If I
Ivy.
recall correctly, Poison Ivy right now is still hanging with Swamp Thing.
That's fair.
the green and everything.
Yeah, I know that's fair. Remember the Swamp Thing show that was like, oh boy, here's Swamp Thing, and then got canceled after one episode.
Superman, stop.
Because they put it on a stream.
And now we're having Superman versus Batman, of course.
What? Wait, a fight where Superman's actually gonna be the one to get to win against Batman?
What new score of madness is this?
I know, right? Like,
Well,
again...
Frank Miller's nowhere near. So.
Yeah.
No. Okay, that's the thing, Dwibs. That it's sadly not exclusive to Frank Miller, but trust me, Dwibs.
They think that Batman can beat Superman no matter what. Like, no.
Do not get me wrong. Batman is very capable and very prepared. But I am just sick of it constantly being that Batman has to be the one who beats Superman. Like, yes, we get it, underdog thing and all, but Jesus, with the amount of times it's been Batman who kicks Superman's butt, you think Superman's the underdog at this point.
There was,
and also, you think that Batman's the only hero to prepare? You don't think Superman knows Batman well?
Dude, Deji, haven't you heard? According to Frank Miller, Superman is a fucking moron who doesn't...
Yeah. But not just that, there was this Elseworld story, I think it's called like Justice League Dark Tower or something, where Batman dies and Ra's al Ghul manages to get in possession of all the plans that Bruce had in case of contingency against every single member of the Justice League and uses them to start killing them one by one. It's very depressing.
I'm not even kidding, Devs. There's literally a scene in All-Star Batman and Robin by Frank Miller where Batman goes on this mad rant about how he's so smart and how Superman is a fucking moron who can't strategize.
Which is funny
It's
because
so
if anything
stupid.
it just comes... Which is funny because if anything, given the context of the story, it comes off more like Batman's the one jealous of Superman, given how Superman is unironically the more productive one of the two in that series.
And then it doesn't make sense considering the story is supposed to be still a prequel to The Dark Knight Returns, a story that showcased that Bruce and Clark still had a strong friendship despite everything. So, Frankie,
but don't you know
the stories you write?
Superman's a boring character because he's overpowered, and it's like there's nothing that can stop him.
It's this
I like
idea.
Dragon Ball Z, I want to see Goku win every single
Like I said various times, the idea that a righteous Superman like Superman can't work for a modern audience got completely disproven when Marvel made Captain America vs. Avenger. That movie single-handedly disproved anybody.
Pedro, don't you see? It's because Captain America isn't overpowered as hell. Superman is.
What do you mean he's not overpowered? In that particular movie, he's more powerful than anybody.
Yeah, but can Captain America
Red
fly
Skull.
or have heat vision or breathe in space?
Regardless, though,
I'm just saying it's like people feel like the problem with Superman is because he's too powerful. That's why
Here's what you do: if your hero is very righteous and doesn't have particularly the same kind of character flaws someone like Batman would have, here's what you do: put him in a story where that kind of character can shine and be interesting.
That's the thing. The sort of story that is addressed that has been done before. Well, you may know it better by its movie title, Superman vs. the Elite, but in comic book terms, what's so funny about truth, justice, and the
American way? Yes.
Well, that's still a story that deals with the questioning. Like, there are plenty of stories that take advantage of Superman's man strength for putting with the proper adversaries, but I can save it for later.
You can hear me. Look at yourself. Look at what you're doing. You're trying to kill me.
Remember that night with the tequila?
We lose here.
Well, it's never to speak of it ever again.
This isn't you, Bruce. Come on. Sorry, Clark.
I
Sorry.
never give up, and neither do you.
Martha!
Why did you say that name?
I'm sorry. This came out 8 years before. God, was it?
Actually, okay.
8 years before, actually, yeah, 2016 too.
Maybe, yes.
8 years before.
You're right.
That's scary to think about.
Yeah, yes, we're all old. Thanks for reminding us, Dej.
Okay, well, I think Jova or Deji were noting before. Yeah, all the male characters in this game had these impressive bulges on their crotches. It's not even anatomy. They really do look like they have a fine boner.
Well, it's better than in Suburban Commando, The Hulk Hogan has a bloody cod piece that lights up.
And that's how Superman got to the point where he has to fight Raiden.
He knows what he has to do, and he's gonna do it.
Dark Khan. It's time to correct my mistake.
Oops.
You're not going to stop me. Superman.
Wait.
Raiden.
You couldn't tell that was an illusion? That was an illusion, Superman?
They're pretty blinded by the rage at this point.
And again, Dwebs, if there's one thing Superman is vulnerable to, it is magic.
And Raiden's thunder is pretty... Okay, it's more divine, I suppose. But,
I was like, how come only one of his eyes was glowing?
Yeah, that was an animation hiccup there.
But anyway, again...
But anyway, the thing...
Sorry, go on.
The thing about Superman is like, well, people say, oh, he's boring because he's invulnerable to all this stuff. That is some goddamn lazy thinking, like...
Yeah, because they feel like the only way to make Superman interesting is either make him evil or a jerk, aka New 52.
No, but okay, like I was saying, again, there are plenty of stories and, opponents that can fit, actually, if you want to have a Superman using his powers at full strength. Not just Darkseid, but, Brainiac, Solaris...
Brainiac, Bizarro... I still want
even Mr. Mistpeasley can count.
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
Cool, right?
Make an animated Superman movie where Mistflix is the main villain.
Okay, forget that though, well, there is also, again, I do think Superman's ending speech in Justice League Unlimited against Darkseid does come into play here. Focus on how Superman has to hold himself back constantly. And if you want to add drama, I'd say add in an extra rule that when Superman has to limited strength, that also makes him more vulnerable to stuff here and there. If you really do want your tension still. In that regard, but that being said, though, again, Superman being vulnerable is not the only struggle to have. Like I mentioned, with Superman versus the Elite, the focus is on if he should act like a god here and there, which is always an interesting struggle for him to deal with here and there. And one thing I love about Superman versus the Elite, or the comic it was based off of, that was made as a little a response to
Garfennis.
No, better to you, Mark Millar.
Well, Garfennis was rampaging at a time with the boys, remember?
Okay, here's the thing though. The whole What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way was made as a response against Mark Millar's run on... what is it called?
A team that was, that had the parallel in that story. I get what you mean, Jova.
Basically, when Garth Ennis started that run, yes, it was a run started by Garth Ennis, they were a team who, yes, made some dark decisions, but had a lot of nuance to it. When Mark Millar took it over, though, well...
It's also because Garth Ennis, for all his opinion... Garth Ennis, if you ever read any of his work, like Hitman or The Boys, Garth Ennis is a guy that dislikes superheroes in general and tries to showcase in their more vulnerable, dickish, and small way possible, but he's in love with Superman. It's an interesting paradox, but I can say before.
Superman is the ideal superhero.
A lot of his famous... I think didn't he, actually, he only wrote, one Judge Dredd thing.
Such ferocity, the hatred, the anger. Combat hastens emerging.
Want a bit?
No, Dark Khan. I won't let you destroy the Earth.
That's pretty convincing.
A combination of the Omega Beam with electricity. That's gotta hurt.
You're doing a very funny job of... Your way of stopping me from ruining the Earth is pretty funny.
It looks like we might just have to make a temporary truce.
Yeah, you think this is the type of thing that would be a tag battle?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, that's the thing, Dez. Tag battles aren't really, in the gameplay.
Well, that's the thing, Jova. In the older Mortal Kombat games had endurance matches, From Deji's perspective, it could be that we were going to have like Dark Khan here would have an endurance match against both Superman and Raiden. The problem is that would involve giving the player an advantage above the CPU, which is something that fighting games never do. So.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a job for Superman and Raiden.
Da-da-da.
Okay.
Bring it. But yeah, no, like again, even Garth Ennis does get characters like Superman.
He's just really in love with the concept and the idea, and again, it works for the advantage. You can clearly tell that it's BS. Don't get me wrong, especially because again, if you normally don't like the kind of stories that he writes, again, like The Boys, it's perfectly understandable. But it's just so interesting to see a guy like that still managing to have this small micro bubble of super respect for just one guy.
This is part of why, again, it wasn't so much a response against Garth Ennis, but our good old edgelord friend Mark Millar. Like, oh boy. Okay, look, I'm not gonna say Mark Millar is a... Okay, he wasn't always a talentless hack.
We showed that with Kick-Ass he can write a good comedic, superhero story.
And with Superman Red Sun, he can do interesting stuff. However, here's the thing that defines his career is unfortunately also at his detriment. He loves to basically not actually make comic books. What do I mean by that? His mentality is like, oh, my comics aren't like those silly superhero comics, or you comic book fans are so silly for wanting a comic book story. Now here's a dark, gritty deconstruction story that totally shows you that I'm right, I'm awesome, I'm cool, please love me.
I'm what's happening. I'm what's blowing up.
Basically, Des, we have Mark Millar to thank for the Civil War comic, which, yeah, let me put it like this, was so bad that even other comic book writers in the industry, in both DC and Marvel, wrote comic book lines just to take the piss out of Civil War.
I especially love the issue of Next Wave that was going on around the time, that as the characters holding signs and when they were asked to a tie-in, and their response is Mark Millar digs goats. Yes.
Like, I'm sure Mark Millar could have good ideas, but he just has a bad mentality as a comic book writer.
Hey, Jerva, would it interest you to know that he was a writer on Sonic the Comic?
That makes way too much sense with how terrible that thing is.
What did he write?
Sonic the Comic. Well,
like which stories?
Robo Fox, Mayhem in the Marble Hill Zone. There's a lot. I'll link the list.
Okay, now let's see how things turned out for the DC universe.
What is this place? Darkseid's throne room. The two universes must have separated. Everything's returned to...
Not quite normal. Hello, who do we have down here?
Shao Kahn.
You aren't Darkseid.
So there you go. The MK characters found Darkseid, and the DC characters found Shao Kahn.
Wait, the way he said that, you are not Darkseid. What?
Shao Kahn in this game is also voiced by Patrick Swayze. I forgot if he also voices the character in MK9.
And now here's my favorite ending. This one's the better ending.
Shao Kahn gets in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
Classic.
I hate Superman too.
You will kneel before me.
So how do you like that? Darkseid gets trapped in Neverworld, and Shao Kahn gets put in the Phantom Zone, and both are depowered.
Both you, and then one day, your ass.
All right, and that was the DC campaign. We only have one more part, so we can check out all the different arcade endings, plus all the fatalities and heroic brutalities.
See ya.
See ya.